and we'll do a short presentation up front, go side to side, chatting about the collection, and then hands-on with Reaper whenever you're ready. All right, let's roll it.
Hey, welcome.
Thanks again. All right, hello and welcome to Wise Up on Air, hands-on with Strata, the Creatures Ancient Collection. I am joined here today by Chase Steele. Hey, Chase. All right, good to be here. Good to see some folks in the chat already. Creatures are so hot right now. Yes. David Chow, thank you for that. Thanks for being here. Ancient Things. We are going to put that on the map with just as much fire emoji as you can handle today. So strap in and get ready for this. Of course, this is a series of live streams where we go hands-on with the Strata product. Strata is a multi-track sound library. Today, we're going to get a little introduction out of the way up front. We're going to go hands-on with Reaper and Unreal in Strata. You can grab Strata right now from Audiokinetic.com, navigate to Strata, and get signed up for our free samples. The free Strata Sample 1 has a limited selection across multiple collections, and you can use those right in your project. Strata Sample 2, same great chunk of sounds that you can get access to in multi-track format as part of a Reaper project, along with the plugins, and get going. So sign up, get news, and let's see.
Mic check.
Technical difficulties, they say. Not sure. Lag in the
How
audio.
things.
All right.
Yeah. It seems good from what I listening to you talk. I mean, at least
see, video
on my side of
compared
things
to the audio. Chase, give me a mic check. All right. Keep us posted. Keep us posted. Yeah. I also see what's going outward facing, and everything seems in sync. So, but I believe what people are saying. I'm looking at the... Okay, it's just me lagging. And let's see if I can wiggle that a little bit. DK
almost
lagged.
everything.
Yeah. Everything.
But we do okay.
We're not doing too bad. So I just flipped the camera, toggled it on and off. And that seems to have fixed it. Ladies and gentlemen, the flowers are still standing. Thank you for your patience. And that's one of the exciting things today. The other is on Tuesday, we had a live stream called the Wwise Worldwide Online Expo. We went over the new features of Wwise 2023, and we gave you a update at the 1-year anniversary of Strata. So Strata's been out for a year. There's 27 collections that have been released over the past year. A ton of detailed information in that live stream. So jump back in and get all up to date on what we've done over this last year with Strata, as well as a picture forward for the future, along with collections that are coming up in the next year and the partners that we'll be adding. So ton of cool stuff there. But let's get going, Chase. And again, thanks to folks out there for letting us know how it was going. And I'm ready to talk creatures. How about you?
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready for it.
Awesome. So tell us about the collection and what you've had your ears on in preparation for this.
Yeah, sure. So I guess just to preface talking about the creature collections overall, we do have some other creature collections, and like you were mentioning with the Strata, like the demo or sample collections that you can get for free. There's some creature sounds in those. I believe there's some creature movement sounds and the creature humanoid, I think. So we have some other creature oriented sort of collections. Um, and this one, Creature Ancient, as well as the Creature Humanoid and some of the others we have, these are going to be focused on a lot of vocalizations, just so we can, make that known up front. So the Creature Movement Collection, which has been out since launch, that has some of like the footsteps and those sort of things, so we kind of know what we're getting into. Um, so Creature Ancient, the name, it obviously you kind of get the sense, okay, these are going to be like, you know, uh, some sort of ancient type of creatures, but really specifically, it's a lot of dinosaurs. So you could almost, with a few exceptions, it could have almost been called, creature dinosaur. But there's some other interesting things in here as well. Um, so we have a handful of different dinosaurs. So the ones you would sort of expect, like a Velociraptor, T Rex, Triceratops, Pterodactyl, and a few others. So, you have basically the scale of different size of creatures sort of represented pretty well. And then you also have some mammals. So there's like a mammoth, saber-toothed cat, and a woolly rhino. And then some outliers, we have an arachnid sort of sounding creature, and actually there's two sort of non-conventional type of creatures in here. There's the arachnid, is kind of like a giant scorpion type thing, and then there's like a large centipede. So, I guess these are things that really existed at some point. There's also a titanoboa, so a large snake. So, and in total, there's 12 different creatures for this collection, and it's just over, I think it's just over 500, almost 600, like 584 rendered sounds. So we'll try to go through. Definitely going to go through the Velociraptor. It's one I used in an example, but we'll take a look at a couple different options here in detail. So I think that's as far as like an overview. Any questions? Is it sounding good so far?
Yeah, well, let us know if you have questions. Put them in the chat. Again, I'm super excited. You mentioned the number of rendered components, but of course, the Strata collections are all broken out into their separate layers, all their individual ingredients and pieces. And I'm guessing with that boa constrictor snake example, there might even be some loops in there that have automation that you can mess around with. But I'm just guessing based on the broad functionality that we usually try to implement across our collections. So I'm excited to dig in.
Yeah, for sure. So I guess it's not something that I really have an opportunity to talk about too much, but so when we're counting, the files for these collections, or when I'm saying, we have over 500 rendered source files, it's really what we're referring to is the actual. If I'm in the main project window here, so these actual rendered files, like the final like constructed designed sound, if you will. So that includes all the variations. But there are also, there's source material behind all these. So if I were to open up, we'll start with the Velociraptor, since I'm overly familiar with that from having used it for this example. But all these files, and this collection is a good example of heavy use of different types of source sounds. So all the source material, like if I zoom in here to this one, let's see what it is. So this is a hyena laugh, right?
Nice.
If I solo that out. And of course, there's some processing going on there, but you also have, not just those rendered final design sounds, but all the source as well. And I think there's just over 200 different, totally different source files that are used for this collection. So just so that there's, I don't know, I think somebody had asked me about it before, and it seemed a little bit confused when I'm talking about different file counts and what they all exactly refer to. So that's something, it's a bit of information I thought I would just share.
Right. And so you're getting creatures ancient, but you're also getting some hyenas.
Yeah, I mean, there's it's a large variety of all kinds of different animals,
Yeah.
and all these are they're creatures, things that are really recorded that somebody had gone out and recorded for these creature collections. So no real dinosaurs recorded, of course, but I don't think anyone expected that.
Well, Jurassic Park's not real yet.
No, not yet. But I've seen some interesting things though. Like there's some sounds that people have actually tried to model the sound of different dinosaurs from just looking at the skeleton and all that. But we didn't go that far. We just got inventive.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
And a question coming in, are these sounds still processed through the Enrage plugin?
Yes. So
I think that hyena was a great example. Yeah.
Yeah, we can actually, there's a lot of I mean, you can actually see here, I just opened up the effects chain for just that hyena track. There's quite a bit of processing going on, it seems like. I can make this a little bit bigger.
Cool.
Yeah, so
good question.
Different, and these are all labeled for what they're doing, so you could remove some if you wanted.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's some distortion on here. Well, that's the whole thing, but yeah, back it up here. So I bet if I turn that off, maybe it's probably not, me. So there, I can turn off the whole chain.
Sure.
There. So yeah, there's quite a bit of, it'll vary from collection to collection, but we're using Enrage. If there is any processing, it's usually going to be through Enrage or through some of the Wwise plugins. So obviously that's all included with the Strata subscription.
Yeah, great.
Yes.
Man, and this is like a designed sound. So you're getting like a professional sound designer's creative inspiration at each of these layers, resulting in just one variation. It's a masterclass in understanding that design process behind the scenes.
Yeah, absolutely. So since we have, well, you know what, maybe let me back up to the main project. Maybe let's at least hear a couple of the different creatures that are in here. And then I'll go back to Velociraptor and we can look at, because obviously there's a lot of layers going on here. So
yeah,
this could be a little jarring to see all this, especially since a lot of them are empty when you first open it up. So I'll explain that a little bit.
Cool.
But here in the main project window, let's just kind of quickly go through each of them. So here's your arachnid. And I think it's starting off with the, let's see, it should be the alerted sounds that play first for each of these. So there's different variations: alert, attack, deaths, different actions you sort of would expect in terms of having a vocalization for. So arachnid. Right, so that's just the alerted sound. And then here's the brontosaurus. Okay, so it's obviously one of the larger creatures. Not totally, I mean, this is a name that I don't recognize, but Compsognathus type of dinosaur.
Right.
It's actually the only one of these that I wasn't familiar with. So I guess it's a smaller creature. Pterodactyl. Triceratops. and T-Rex, which of course we're Tyrannosaurus Rex. And Velociraptor. Insectoid, so large centipede. Mammal. So there's a couple of different mammals. There's a mammoth, saber-toothed cat, and then a rhino. So for the saber-toothed cat, I believe they had there's definitely some real recordings of lions and definitely I think there's lions. I think that I saw in the material that was provided to us from the recordist. I think there was tigers as well. And there was actually real elephants recorded. And then here's the Titanoboa. Okay. And then I'll go ahead and back over to the Velociraptor. I guess question for if there's comments, but if anyone has a particular creature they would want me to go into, I can. Otherwise I'll just pick some that stood out to me. But if you want to see one in particular, I'd be happy to oblige that.
Yeah, let us know. Drop it in the chat. It's quite a menagerie, Chase. Like, what a spectrum of different types of creatures. And again, like you said, at the foundation, a lot of real animal sounds that have been molded and manipulated to create these these fantasy representations. Cool.
Yeah. So back to the I'll go through the structure of the projects, which once you understand how one is laid out, they're all going to be laid out fairly in a similar fashion. So like I was mentioning before, there's different takes depending on what the interaction is. So we have the idle sounds. I already played the alerted sound. I'll skip over that, but there's an attack. And then there's like a pain sound, like if the creature is damaged or, if you're fighting it or something like that. And of course, there's death sounds. So quick, little detail about the number of variations for these. So most sounds are going to have eight different variations, although some of the more complex ones, like the death sounds, this actually does have 8 for the Velociraptor, but some of the larger creatures that just have longer, more drawn out death sounds, they do have fewer variations. But you can expect generally up to 8 variations per action, so to speak.
And I think something that's interesting there is, you say 8 variations, ton of layers, and for those longer expressions, there's multiple kind of beats that happen throughout a vocalization like that. And so it's not crazy to imagine separating out one of these variations into kind of sub layers or sub variations that could get randomized at runtime or tagged to different timings in the animation and then randomized. So you could actually expand on those variations because you have all of these elements separated.
Yeah.
You can slice and dice them however you want, trigger them in the game, and get additional mileage out of the content that's there.
Yeah, and they're generally the layers are organized in a way to where they all are sort of you can actually see with this first with the which sound am I in here, the idle sound for the raptor.
Yeah.
So you could see like the first part of the vocalization, these two I don't know if this zooms in, if it'll work or not over the stream, but these two layers here.
Yep.
One of them was the honey badger and the hyena. They're grouped together and they're kind of at the beginning of the sound, and the other ones are sort of grouped together as well. sort of fill out so it's easy to see, like if you wanted to move these around, you kind of know like what stuff is kind of layered up in a way that goes together.
Totally.
So it's pretty cool. Now inside, like what we're looking at here, obviously we have this layer one, which is the main voice of the creature generally. And we also have several other layers. So there's a layer two, which is high frequencies, layer three, which is air. So it's some sort of like the breathiness, or some, it'd be like a layer that you would have if you were really close to the creature potentially. And there's a low frequency layer, punch, and then this additional layer, which I don't know if there's any in this project, but yeah, there is. So I'll go over to that, this one here, over to alerted. So these additional layers are sort of just kind of added flavor to change like the overall character of the sound a little bit. It's just something that you could kind of take it or leave it. Oftentimes the designer may include something in these additional layers that it's kind of situational. It's not really like the whole sound doesn't depend on that being there, but depending on what your use is, you may or may not want it. But it's usually not like a critical component, which is why it's kind of muted like that.
Yeah, spin it for us though here for a second.
Sure.
Solo it
Yeah.
so we can get an idea of an example.
Yeah, so here's alerted one. Now this is still muted, the additional layer, but the alerted sound itself doesn't have any high frequency or any of this stuff associated with it. And then if I unmute the additional layer, now it's kind of subtle. So if I'll solo it so you can hear what's being added. So
nice.
This is kind of like some hissy sort of type of sounds. You can increase that if you want to. Solo it again. Right? And maybe together again. I could always bring this one down too a little bit.
Yeah. And like you said, it's this extra piece in the box if you want to take it further in that direction. And it's so great to have the folks behind this, bringing their creativity to it and empowering other ways to use the content. That's great.
Right. And then the other thing that's pretty cool is like how I would maybe imagine using this extra layer. Maybe that's a sound or a layer that only plays if you're like in front of the creature. So that's an example of how I might actually use that. But
perfect. Or you could set it to only play every 5th or 10th time, or randomize when that layer comes in to bring a little diversity to it.
Right. Now because this particular creature, a lot of the actual layers are just kind of within this main voice layer. That's why there's so many of these different tracks in here. They're all like each interaction is using maybe slightly different creatures, which is kind of interesting in itself. You would think, okay, for the raptor they used X, Y, and Z animals for source material. But that's not really the case. They used things in the design for the attack sound that are not even in the other sounds at all. For like, there's a French bulldog grunt in here, which is one of the layers that did stand out to me. So I can solo that after we hear it. So attack, right? And then French bulldog, where did it go? Where did I lose where that? There it is. Okay. I'm thinking there's some processing on there as well. Sure. But that's also, I saw the actual, they really did record a French bulldog for that. So it is, all of the names of the source material here are pretty much what was used. which is a cool sort of thing that you can pick up on as a user. You can see what types of creatures were used for the design, and then if you have other stuff in your personal library, it's very easy to say, oh, well, I think I have some, I have some other lions, or I have some other different type of dog growl recordings. You could, start customizing it without, without too much having to think about it. You could go and pull other things and really have your own custom version of the Velociraptor set up. So I know it's a big thing. We're always trying to, talk about and get people to think about in terms of customizing Strata, and how it's really set up also is a, very easy exposure in terms of being able to learn. I think my fire alarm is going off, but it's usually because of my heater. So I don't know if anyone can
I
hear that
can't
or
hear
not.
it
But
over here, but please stay safe.
okay, well,
uh,
glad it's not annoying anyone else. But
yeah. Good luck working in that. While that's happening, I'll just give a shout out to the question in the chat. Yes, this is the Creatures Ancient collection that we're digging into here today in Strata. This is part of that collection. So yes, jump in, get your hands on it. And then I'm going to throw another one from the chat at you, Chase. In previous Strata projects, Musicalities is noting that there are some MIDI CC or controls used to tweak parameters of sounds in the session. And they're wondering if it's possible to do an explanation of the MIDI map parameters, if there are any in this collection, or even if you just have a general, overview of what is normally included and what people can reach for when they're doing, MIDI type
yeah,
expressions.
yeah, I don't think I know that for example, a lot of like the weapon collections have those, and some of the other like I know the Magic collection has that. I think there's nothing explicitly set up in this one. Like sometimes you'll have like a totally separate track up at the top that, or per layer for some of those type of controls. We don't have any macros explicitly set up here for kind of like what they're thinking about. There might be some individual automation on some of these Enrage plugins, but there's nothing like that feature for this collection, like what you're thinking of. But I do like it when that really depends on the designer if they choose to do something like that or not. So it can be it may or may not be in from one collection to another, but I agree it's a pretty cool thing.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, let us know what you like about that so we can kind of carry it forward in future discussions. And maybe there'll be a project in the future that we go hands on with where we can dig a little deeper into that. I know that in spaceships, we took a look at some of the automation properties that were there for fire and water and engine sounds. So definitely dig back into that hands-on where Chase exposed some of those properties that can be modulated either in real time or using automation. So yeah.
yeah. And another good example of those is any of the ambience collections. Those are pretty much all built with different macros and automation in terms of uh, getting certain layers in or out of uh, the mix or spatializing things. The ambience collections use a lot of that. Is probably like the shining example of that style of collection functionality.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. Thanks for your feedback on that. And let's just let's keep building towards that kind of flexibility in places where folks are looking for it. So again, thanks
That's
for
good to hear. I'm glad to hear that somebody else's, or I'm glad to hear the feedback that, that's like a feature that people like and are, excited about, because that means that we could, that's something we consider further for sure.
Nice. All right, dig. So we're deep into this collection on the Reaper side, and I know I'm going to put a bookmark here for the future of this hands-on when we start to bring it over into Unreal and see and hear it working in the game engine using Wwise. But take us on this walkthrough for the collection that you've used over there as part of that project.
Sure. So I have the Velociraptor here, and I have a this sort of dragon type looking creature. Um, I think it was
Awesome.
without having to. There was actually there wasn't a lot of I didn't find a lot of actual dinosaur assets like that were like freely available to me.
Sure.
There were some that were out there, but were actually kind of expensive. Um, so I had these dragons or whatever. I'm like, okay, well that's you know, the collection's not called creature dinosaurs, so I can, this thing looks kind of ancient, right? So
Yeah.
um so yeah, so we're using this guy. Um and what I have is I have some I used the attack sound and the death sound. So because that's pretty good contrast. The attack sound's a uh shorter type of sound, and then the death sound's more drawn out. So between the two, the other ones are just sort of emotional variants, more or less. So you can kind of use those as a it's like a basis for what the creature sounds like. I don't believe that I changed too much in terms of the layering for this one. So it's pretty much the Velociraptor as it was sort of mixed down,
Cool.
and it fits pretty well. Um, Real quick, the thing I would say also just about when I was going through the raptor sound, I was actually surprised at how few actual bird noises were in here. I kind of thought there would be more. There's some hawk noises, hawk screech, but it's a lot of just all kinds of other things that you wouldn't maybe uh you know you wouldn't really like conceive of for a raptor. Like I wouldn't have thought there would be a French bulldog in there, but such is the way of creature design, I guess. It's always something you don't expect.
Yeah, I
um
remember hearing about it was the Hydra, I think, from the original God of War that had the sound of an espresso steamer as part of it. And that just well, that's sound design, right?
yeah, that really is the thing of it. It's whatever gets the whatever it is convincing and gets the emotional outcome that you're looking for.
Bam. Nice.
So, having said all that, I'll press play on here, and what's going to happen is he'll run across the screen, and then when I step in front of it, it will do it should actually, the way it's set up, it should alternate between the death sound and the attack sound. So, I'll just play it and see if we think it's convincing. All right, should start moving in a second here. All right. And also, I can mention the footsteps that are in there. Those are not in the Creature Ancient collection, but they are in the Creature Movement collection.
Awesome.
So, um, so yeah, the bases are covered in that regard, and outside of this one. So I'll approach and see what happens. All right. Now,
Nice.
some of the death sounds for this, flip back over here. This is one thing that it was probably the first thing that I was inclined to kind of go in and probably customize a little bit. But the length of the death sounds, they're all a little bit different length.
Sure.
So if I wanted them all to match up this animation, I'd probably, there's some editing for me to do there. But the thing that's nice is you may not, for something like the death sound, it's probably, I mean, that's realistically only going to happen every so often if this is like a boss or something, or you're not going to be constantly hearing it like you will the attack or the other sounds. So you can maybe just decide, oh, this variation 7 that fits pretty well with the animation length, So you could, without having to really edit it, if that's not something that you want to spend time doing right away, there's enough variation between having different lengths that you can pick a length that will more than likely fit the animation as it stands. So I think I have all of them plugged in, so it's kind of random,
Yeah.
but and there's the attack sound.
Snappy.
So you can see that one's obviously a little bit longer than the animation. That one was one of the shorter ones.
It worked.
Yeah, and I have everything spatialized so the sound is coming out of the it's coming out of the mouth of the creature. If I were to go over to the I'll have to find the animation for this guy.
And I gotta say, the tongue physics are on point. Wow.
Yeah, I can't take responsibility for that, but
We're gonna need
yeah,
some tongue collection uh, in the future to really get the precision on
there.
that, I think.
Yeah, I don't see any I don't see any tongue layers in here or anything.
No,
But
but I bet in the physics collection you got something that could work really well. So if folks you know tuned in, we had a deep dive on the physics collection, which is one of the largest strata collections across a bunch of different surface types, materials. Uh, there's definitely something there for that tongue in the future.
yeah, yeah. Oh, I think this is oh here. So here's the probably have to connect Wise for this to actually play in the editor.
There you go.
Huh, that's weird. Maybe I don't have it enabled or something.
All possible.
Yeah, I don't know why it's not usually it will play
Cool.
inside the animation window, but
Cool, but what we're looking at in the animation is the timeline for that animation, and the little blue tag there on the timeline is the death event that's being posted.
yeah, or in this case the attack here,
Ah,
but
attack. Great,
yeah,
great.
maybe the death one will work. Let's try that. There we are.
Well, again, the pleasure of doing it live.
Yeah. So there's the death.
Cool.
Again, not working. That's weird though. But in any case, the whole reason I opened this up is so you could see we have um, with the animation notify, I have that attached to the head here.
Great.
So, um, you know, set up pretty realistically. And if I go into Wise, I have here's our Velociraptor, and I made some special positioning
Great.
for it, which I think is, let's see, where is that being?
Yeah, it's all the way to the
Probably at
top.
the top level.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I have set up so that, depending on your distance and positioning and so forth, sounds like it should be coming out of the mouth, right?
Yeah, and I mean that's what you're highlighting there is just the fidelity with which we're taking sound today, right? It's like,
Yeah.
okay, vocalizations from the mouth and footsteps from the feet. And, historically it might have been, oh, we're just going to anchor this to the origin point for the actor and just kind of get away with it. But with the way that games are being made today, we're breaking these things out into their own components, attaching them to different bones on the actor, and having those sounds play more realistically because of those precise positions.
Yeah. And I imagine you could even set, if you wanted, you could probably set a filter up. So whether as the mouth is opening and closing, you could probably do that too.
And I love the way you're thinking there, because it's where it gets dynamic, right, and
Yeah.
responsive. So now imagine that the animators are actually supplying you with, I don't know, a half a dozen different attack variations, right? You can use
Yeah.
the same content set, but in addition to however the animator animates that to, you know, modulate in real time and get a better representation, collaboration there with the animation team as well.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And it's always one of the things that I like to mention when I'm talking about Strata is because the vast variety of sounds that you have available and how consistent everything is, it actually gives me it's given me a lot more time to focus on the problem solving aspect of taking these sounds and making them sound good in the game. And
Yeah.
like the idea with the filtering, well, I probably actually have time to play around with that detail rather than worrying about, oh, do all the all my attack sounds from one creature to another, are they all consistent? Like all
Right.
that's kind of nicely taken care of for you. And if you want to customize the sounds, you can easily do that. Everything's, as I've said already, all the source material is labeled. It's very easy to sort of massage in your own material if you want to. So it's been nice to just be able to think about making whatever I'm using Strata for sound good in the context of how it's being used, having that really be the focal point when I'm working on a project. So
Yeah, that's a great way to imagine the process, right? It's like, where can I spend my time since I've, gotten this workflow speed up here or there? What does it enable me to do? Um, and like you mentioned, one thing we talk about a lot in these hands-on is Strata, its components, and adding the customized pieces that make it unique for your game, for your experience. So adding the layer to those velociraptors, maybe you got a cyber velociraptor and now you're just, throwing some synthesized sounds at it, or processing it in a unique way, but you've got that firm foundation to start from to experiment your way to something that fits really well, either content wise or, as you mentioned, content's taken care of. Let me get more
yep.
dynamic in the game engine and take care of it there.
Yeah, exactly. In fact, you can, I think you probably can see in the over my view, you can see my synthesizer collection over here to my side.
Yeah,
Basically, the more often I get to play with those and just be creative, that's a win. So if the content is 90% of the way there and I get to spend the other 10% of the way, coming up with some interesting source material there to add in, that's fun. So
totally.
makes there more time for the whatever the fun aspect is for any individual sound designer. You should have more time to do that part, is kind of the way I feel.
Yeah, nice, nice.
So uh anyway, getting back to this little demonstration, we did hear also, let's see, I know that I had the footsteps playing back earlier because um it's kind of let's see. Yeah. So for some reason,
Okay.
these ones are working in the animation window. So what I have here is and I'll spend just a minute showing this collection since it was released at this with Strata as as it came at the beginning of last year. So here's the creature movement, and I used the large footsteps from here, and there's all sorts of different, it almost sort of mirrors what you would see in the physics collection. So you have the different materials for the footsteps. So I think I'm using the large grass footsteps here, right? Should
Cool.
be, yeah, it sounds like the right one. And I believe I turned let's see. think I turned one of these layers down very significantly. I think I got rid of a lot of the, you know, the grit and the crunch to sort of match the terrain that I had. But point is we have our footsteps and movement covered rather well. So if that's a concern when you see me going over the creature projects, you're missing that stuff. No, it's all there. It's just in a more generalized collection somewhere else. So, and I believe again, there's some samples of that in I think it's the first Strata example collection, which is available for free. So if this is interesting,
I'm
play
putting the
around with it.
screen up right now. Free Strata Sample 1 includes that creature movement collection that you're mentioning, along with ambience, historical firearms, some modern UI, a little bit of vehicles, some robotic sounds, like just a ton in that free sample. So if you haven't already, get that in your life. Cool.
Yep.
And having it in real time on the timeline means that you can immediately hear changes that you make, whether you're in Wise or in Unreal. So you're just live tuning that to make sure that it sounds right, getting exactly the performance you need out of it.
Exactly.
Cool.
All right. So did we got through everything that I sort of mentioned that we wanted to up to now? Because I have this creature in particular, which I actually have I haven't done anything yet. I really don't know like which sounds I would use or not, but I'm sure there would probably be something in the either the let's see, the large centipede or maybe even the arachnid. Probably something in one of those would fit. So I figure we could, just try putting something together live and just show you without any sort of preconceived ideas of how I would use Strata if we can make something that works out okay.
Cool. Let's do it.
Yeah. So what is this animation? This is just a general roar animation for whatever this kind of strange looking creature is. It actually kind of reminds me of Starship Troopers. You ever see that?
Totally. Yeah.
That's like one of those the thing that's in that. That's what it reminds me of.
Man, that movie always reminds me of Eight-Legged Freaks too. Another classic of the genre. The giant bug genre.
Yeah.
Nice.
So let's see. Maybe I want to open up the Centipede project because that one seems somewhat more obscure. Let's see if there's something in here that would fit for that. Okay, so giant centipede. What does a giant centipede sound like? And actually, this is one of those particular creatures where it's really like, what did they use for the source material? So let's see. What would maybe fit here? Maybe the attack sound. It seems like it might fit. Might be a little bit short. I don't know. But in any case, we can see some of the layers that are in here. There's a lot of human sort of sounds. There's a choking sound. I don't know what that seems like. It would be something more specific than that. But lion snarl, human burp is in here. And these must be processed pretty heavily. Is what we're hearing. You know what? Just for fun, let's turn off the processing on these and just see. So here's with it. And then if I were to, turn that off. So you can definitely hear there is some substantial processing going on that's worth taking a look at. So even actually with that off, it still sounds pretty cool.
Yeah.
Sounds like there's probably like a lot of LFO type stuff going on to get that like that clicky sort of modulation.
Yeah.
But what else? Death. All right, so maybe I do have a death animation, so maybe I use that. But let's say we go with, what about alerted? What's that? That might actually fit a little bit better, possibly. So if I wanted to use those,
Yep.
I'll say, I mean, obviously I could select all 8. I guess I could do that. And, get them into the disconnect here from, not, looks like I already am. Perfect. So I'll select my creature, or not the movement. I need to go to the vocalizations. So creature ancient collection. I have a folder built for that already inside of Wwise. And then select over here. And I'm using Wwise, which if this isn't something you've seen before, this is a very convenient, easy way, not just to get sounds out of your Strata collection into Wwise, but any Reaper project that you would have. It's not exclusive for the Strata collections per se, but obviously they're set up to work together very conveniently. So it looks like it's already synced up, or wait, maybe it's not. Let me press this and they'll sync it with the folder I have selected. Now, without going too deep into Wwise, you can play around with the structure. So I could have this right now. It's set up. It's going to make a virtual folder. Maybe I could. Well, yeah, I could change that to. Let's change it. I can make it an actor mixer, so that it's one less thing for me to do. So there's all the alerted sounds inside of an actor mixer. I could hit transfer to Wwise. Right. It's going to render these. And then click continue, close. And then just like that, should have, there they are. So they're inside this folder here, or not the folder, but the actor mixer.
Yeah.
And maybe I probably want these inside of a random container now I'm thinking about it. So I can just, do what you would normally do.
Flexible.
I can spell centipede correctly. And this was the alerted sounds, right?
Right.
So there we go. So there they all are, and we make an event for that.
Perfect. Not only are we going deep on Strata, we're going step by step on getting sounds from your DAW into Wwise, prepped for the game, and get them attached to those animations.
Yeah. I just figured it, since with the limited collection this month, usually we have 2. It'd be fun to just, instead of just having everything pre-built, I could, tackle something without really any idea what's going to work for it. Could be a cool experience.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah, let's see, centipede. Pull that in there. So now I just have to that should be generate that.
Bam.
And they have to see here, refresh. And I'm not on the latest version of Unreal or Wwise for this project, but probably by the next time we do, that'll be so it'll be a little bit more current.
Just came out, so you can have a grace period. And
yeah,
I know you're gonna like the way we've consolidated the Wwise picker into the new Wwise browser.
That's what I was thinking about at this exact moment.
Yeah.
So I'll go ahead and import that. Yep. Already have a folder set up. Good. And let's see how this actually works.
Sweet.
let's say maybe I'll start it right there just for now.
Nice.
I love that this is a thing that's built in with the Wwise integration is you have these I've used them a ton already in other demonstrations, but the animation notify,
Perfect. Yep.
super helpful.
With a spot to drop your event in.
So there's the centipede. And you know what? I should probably let's figure out where we want this actually to be attached. Let's say head. It's kind of a weird naming convention for it, but
Awesome. So making sure that sound comes from the right spot and not at the root of that actor.
yeah, it looks like I got it there.
Cool.
Oh, it looks like
Boy,
it's actually.
heard it a little bit.
Is that so quiet though? Let me connect this.
Sure.
What happens? Do that. It is really quiet.
It's a little quiet and a little bit late. Yeah. But
maybe it's I bet I know what it is. I bet it's because camera distance here. Yep.
Great.
Is actually, and let's actually let me see if I pull. I should have a. I already did make the blueprint, so we don't have to go. We're not going that all the way,
Okay.
to that depth. But
yeah.
Let's see. It's gonna be set the distance up correctly.
Yep.
Well, that should have.
But I love design in real time, Chase. It's great to watch you working inside of Unreal to connect the dots with the Strata collection and Wwise.
Yeah, I mean, just trying to do it as in the least boring possible progression as I can here. But let's see.
It's always fun to see how other people work. So, big fan.
Yeah, let's I just gotta change the skeleton there. That's all.
Okay, so you dropped in a duplicate of the creature that you had created with all of the blueprint attachments, and then just swapped out the model and skeleton on it for the creature you tagged the animation on.
Yeah, and it should there we go. Yeah, it doesn't have any footsteps because we didn't put those.
Right.
But yeah, so timing's a little off, but and that's a different animation there.
Yeah. Oh, death. Sad.
That's a really quick death animation. I'll have to keep that in mind. Maybe I can we can bring it in a little quicker. Yeah, I think probably I just need a different length, or obviously we'd have to, do some editing to get this one, a little bit more set. But let's try. Let me get to the death animation. I think maybe one of the shorter pain sounds might fit pretty well there.
Cool.
Let's see. Okay.
This is great, and this absolutely is an ancient-looking creature. It's working perfectly with the collection.
Yeah, I mean, I was actually really happy to find these in the Unreal assets that are, in their marketplace.
Yeah.
All right, so we gotta see about our pain. Yeah, it's probably going to be. Let's see how long the death one are. Some cool stuff going on in there.
All right.
Maybe death 5 looks pretty short. So far of the examples I pulled open, they've all had 8 entire death animations, but I'm pretty sure, T-Rex. This one I think has fewer, so you can see, you'll understand why when I show it.
Sure.
It's just a longer, more drawn out sound, so figured probably won't be used as heavily. T-Rex as so yeah, any of the larger creatures tend to have less of those variations. So Death 5
Yeah. Like
and maybe
I can't wait to unpack what's into that T-Rex death. This is homework for folks out there on the stream. When you get the creature's ancient collection, dig in to see what's at the root of that death sound. There's some incredible sounds in there.
and I'll go back out here.
Yeah, and so great to hear Point de Sauvegarde. It's like he says the Reaper projects and the samples are a great example of the kind of workflow for beginners. So I think there's a lot to learn there, whether you're just starting out or, if you're just naturally curious to try and uncover what these sound design mixtures, recipes, techniques. There's just a ton in there. So thanks for grabbing the free sample and sharing your experience.
Yeah, I almost I can imagine all kinds of different scenarios, but one that I like to think about is that if you say you had maybe if you're working on a project and you're going to have like a sound design intern or a sound like a junior level sound designer coming in, having something like Strata available to be able to say, hey, have a look at this, learn from this and kind of have some ready to go direction. It could be really valuable for just the learning aspect. Oftentimes, if you're trying to mentor somebody, it gives you some sort of framework to work with. So
Totally.
looks like I got
Yeah. So while we were talking, you got the render over through Wwise to Wise for the sounds that you want to attach to the death animation.
Yes, I think I had to. Hang on, did I actually? I don't remember if I actually hit transfer.
There we go.
I think it might be it may be giving me a hard time just because it has the same name as
Got it.
I'll try selecting this. I'll change that to a random container.
Yeah, you'll want to do that anyway.
Cool. Did it it's weird. Oh, I know what the problem is. I'm still connected to Unreal. It doesn't like it if that's the case.
Right.
It's good that I've already had these problems a number of other times. I'll say that.
Well, and when you're moving fast, it's easy to get lost in the workflow, which is something that we're working on for the future. And we've made available as an experimental feature in Wwise 23.1 that just released, which is live media transfer. And so you'll be able to enable that in the current release of Wwise. And when you do, as an experimental feature, you'd just be able to bounce that over to Wwise connected to Unreal, and it will pick up that change and update that sound file immediately without having to go through the process of generating sound banks.
Yes.
So
Big deal.
that's going to be hot, and it solves exactly this problem of wanting to stay in your workflow, stay connected to the game, and iterate fast within that tight loop between Unreal and Wwise.
Cool. Now we can. All right, I have my events, so I just gotta add that on there. Oh, wrong one.
There it is.
Yes. And I actually, because I only did one of each sound so we can see which one fits better.
Sure.
I didn't set up a random container for it, but
it's cool.
It's okay. Pain. Cool. Now I just have to, of course, do this whole thing again.
Generate sound banks, dance.
Yeah. And bring them in.
Cool.
Already got those two. Import. And let's see, we'll find out which one we like better here. If it's pain.
Don't forget to
maybe
reconnect.
Yes.
See, again, workflow someday. Just stay connected.
Actually, it seems like it might fit pretty well.
Yeah.
Let's see. And then, yeah, I'll open it back up here. All right. Timing on that one's a little bit better. Just need to be a little bit longer, if anything. And we didn't put one for that yet.
Nope.
Here's the deck. That one fits really well.
Oh. Done. You know what I want, though? You've got some footsteps already in that project,
yeah,
right?
let's do it. Yeah,
well,
put those in
I'm
there.
not sure if I want footsteps, but on that death animation, can you just throw a couple footsteps when the body fall happens? I'd love to hear just a little surface interaction when he collapses, and those footsteps are fine by me to get something in place to hear it.
Let's see, yeah. So one,
maybe one there, yeah.
Two. And then one there. Yep.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, one there. Yeah, I think the footstep size actually might be okay.
Yeah, well, let's try it.
I mean, material, it's definitely still grass.
Yep. Well, and it's at this phase of development when you really just want to stand stuff up and hear how it works. So
yeah. Let's do the reveal here. We go through. I don't think I heard it.
No, I didn't hear it, but it might have something to do with either the attenuation
Oh, let's see. Actually,
or
I
where
know
it's
the
attached.
yes. Yes.
Cool.
I didn't do that. I didn't do that key, key part
Yeah,
there.
right.
Let's see. There's so many possibilities.
Right.
Can I just arm? Is it arm, upper arm, forearm? That seems like the right finger. Am I on
Ooh,
the right? Yeah, it looks like I'm on the right. I feel like there should be.
something lower, but
Yeah, I
I'll
don't see
take
one lower though.
I'll take the finger. I mean,
Yeah, we can do that.
seems appropriate.
And which one is this? This one's so it's the right and then the left. Got it.
Nice. And then just for fun, like when he fully collapses there towards the end of the animation, just throw another one over there so we can hear it happen later. I think
Like
right,
right there.
yeah, right there. Just throw one there and see. Again, when I'm developing, I really just want to have those beats in place from,
Yeah.
from an early phase so that I can, synchronize. And then when I iterate forward, let's say a couple days, I come back to this. Oh, okay, now I've got the sound that I want for that actual body fall impact. So it's for me a lot of times I'm moving really fast to get as much stood up as I can in a situation like this, and then I'll come back through and get the content uh, tightened up.
It's like I always forget like where certain things actually work, but I can actually just copy from here. Copy
Nice.
selected bone name. Uh and this one should be the left. Or not. But now the other thing is there probably are some I could probably have body fall sounds in here
Sure.
preloaded. So that would even be, that is in the collection as well.
Nice.
Uh and let's see. I've put the names in for these all correctly. So let's see if actually I'm surprised I'm not hearing it now. But maybe it's a proximity thing. I don't know. Well, we'll play it in the
All right,
window
let's see what
here.
happens. And just like game development, we'll figure it out on the way. Still sounding good?
Yeah. Hmm. I wonder if I use the
Yeah, let's hear it in
steps.
Wise.
Let me check something here once.
Sure.
Oh, I see. I just used the I just I used the player footstep that I have in here instead is all that happened, I
Ah,
believe.
yeah. Hey, that's cool. That
Yeah, and I have everything. I got these prefixes for creatures, so you think I would have seen that too, but guess not.
yeah, yeah. No, it's a clear example of working fast and having a good time. I'm having a great time implementing some sounds on this creature with you. So thanks for taking the time today. Folks who are still hanging in with us, here we go.
Yeah, now it's gonna work now. It has to.
Oh man, I can't wait to get sounds on that gallop too. Okay.
Come on. Wait. Yeah, I heard it in there.
Yeah! Success.
Yeah.
Nice work, Chase.
Yeah, we did it.
Cool.
So
So again, just a great overview of some simple animation tagging, leveraging what you had and sounds from that Creature's Ancient Collection. Was there anything else you wanted to cover before we fade it out?
Um, I don't think there's anything else in particular other than if there was, I don't know if anyone else requested to see any of the other creatures, but I can certainly show
Okay.
maybe one or two more, just just for the sake of hearing some stuff.
Okay,
But
get
I
your
think
requests into the chat here. If there's a creature you want to hear, run them down for me again, Chase.
so we got the arachnid, which we are actually just in the centipede, so we didn't do anything with the arachnid. There's the brontosaurus, the compsognathus, which I don't know if
Nice
that's how
one.
you say
You're
it,
doing
but
great.
pterodactyl, triceratops, T-Rex, velociraptor, centipede, mammoth, saber-toothed cat, rhino, and then the titanoboa, just like a large 80-foot snake.
Okay, so let us know if there's one of those we can zoom in on. I'm going to give you a quick rundown of where we've been. So we just did a deep dive hands-on the Creature's Ancient Collection that has just been released as part of the Strata Multitrack collections. And Jason and I went hands-on back in October with the spaceships and ambient fire and water collections. Again, digging deep into the projects in Reaper and work that Chase had done, carrying those into Unreal in a virtual cockpit of a spaceship that had some problems with its, started on fire and like sprinklers. Really cool implementation. You can dig back into that across our YouTube and Twitch channels, along with cannons and interactable objects. A fun one with lots of explosions. Not to mention our Strata Multitrack physics collection hands-on, which was a deep dive into all of the surfaces, materials, layers, and setup. And we went behind the scenes with a bunch of folks who contributed to the physics collection, including our partners at Boom Library for this exclusive collection to Strata. So you can get a bunch of stories behind the scenes, hear more about recording techniques. There was just a wealth of information about sound library creation from some of the creators of the physics collection. I mentioned just a couple days ago, we had the Wwise Worldwide Online Expo where we surfaced new features of Wwise 2023.1, including an update on Strata. And there's also a 1-year anniversary blog post that summarizes what we talked about, what Simon Ashby, head of product and co-founder at Audiokinetic, talked about. The journey of Strata over this last year and new collections coming in the future, as well as a new subscription model. So if you've been following along, we've had a 3-year subscription model in place for Strata, and moving forward, we'll be adding additional ways for you to get access to Strata through subscription and project level models. The one that Simon was the most excited about, and I think I share his excitement, is this student or academic license. So for $100 a year, you can get access to all of the collections that Strata has as a student. So if you're a student jump on this, a masterclass in all of the different ways that these collections have been created, and huge value to you in your educational process. And hey, maybe it's something worth reaching out to the folks where you're going to school as part of your academic institution, worth having that conversation about how you can empower your education system to support you in this sound design journey. So I just wanted to put that in front of you. We dropped some links in the chat. Thanks, Masha, for doing that. And keep your eyes and ears on Strata in the future. There's a ton of great stuff coming up. So Chase, no suggestions. Is there another favorite creature you want to just give us a outro with a maybe a rebel yell from in the collection?
Well, let's take a look at the Titanoboa.
Cool.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. And I mean, we did also listen to the T-Rex. We heard the death sound for that. So that one's also we fit that in, but the Titanoboa is kind of interesting. Let's see what this one's all about and kind of take a look at some of the layers real quick. So we have go to the attack sound. Start with that. And again, this is another good example of, if I zoom out, you can see each of the different idle, alerted, so on. It's all different sounds for every action, which is really kind of crazy if you think about how much work and detail went into making all of these, something for each situation. It's not just the same material rehashed over and over again. So
totally,
lots of variation. So attack, and let's see, idle. So what does that sound like? Alerted. Pain. And then here's the death. This one also has 2 death variations. So there we have that. And maybe I can zoom in on some of these interesting layers here. Go layer by layer with the attack, for example. This one has a balloon sound in it. Balloon fill breath. Now, there's probably a good bit of processing on there. Let's see what that sounds like raw, maybe. So there you go. It's just a balloon, the source sound here. If you were to go in and find that, it's just the balloon with some, various processing going on there. So it almost sounds like...
Yeah. No, go ahead.
I was going to say, it almost sounds like there might be like an envelope follower or something going on here.
Yeah.
Seems like it to me.
So what you're saying is Creatures Ancient, not just good for ancient creatures, but also that balloon filling party game that you might be making.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you have all the source material, and it could be totally, not at all like what you would expect. So while you're with each Strata collection that releases, you're also just building out your general library of prop sounds. Realistically, that's also something that's happening on the wayside that you may not be totally visible from the collection itself, but it's happening.
Totally.
Yeah. So what else? There's a human hiss. I think a lot of these may be human sounds, these 3 layers. A tiger. So like I said, there was an actual tiger recorded. So that is literally what it is. Steam iron. So again, another everyday prop is being used here. And growl. Now it's got a pretty significant low pass filter on that, sure.
Yeah, just a little bit of heft down there in the
Yeah.
low end. Nice.
Yeah, variety of here's some more human type sounds. So yeah, it's seeming to me like as I go through these, a lot of the those raspy sort of higher frequency kind of layers, a lot of them do tend to be just human vocalizations that are either processed or performed to to try to fit the use case, which is kind of cool.
It's a great foundation for any sound for sure.
Yeah. I mean, for creature design, there's like we were talking about earlier, the what's the name of the new contributor that we have coming on board? Is it
Monster Factory.
yeah.
Yeah,
So they do, I know they do a ton of stuff that's just human vocalization. That'll be something to look forward to.
exactly. Their collection coming out later in 2024. Zombies and human onomatopoeias. So just, and if you haven't heard of the Monster Factory, dig deep into some of the material they have out there behind a lot of monsters in games that you may be playing, but they're doing a collection for Strata that is, you know, this is a team of vocal performers who will push their voices to the extremes to get these very unique sounds. And we're excited to have them bringing that to the Strata collection in 2024.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm really excited for it. And it'll be
Nice.
interesting to see, since they're a different provider, different creator, how their approach to you'll be able to kind of A/B and see how the creature collections we have now will compare against what they've done. And you'll see two totally different workflows. So another great opportunity to learn, like here's how one person may approach it, and here's how another person may. So that'll be a cool thing for people to see.
Totally. All right, Chase. Well, thanks so
Cool.
much for going deep into the Creatures Ancient Collection with me today. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. Thanks again for hosting, and it's been a lot of fun doing these. Getting a chance to highlight Strata and how you can different ways you can actually use it in the practical applications. So I'm glad everyone seems to be enjoying it so far.
Awesome. Well, this is the last one of 2023, so I'm just going to
Right.
give you a high five, and I'll
Yeah.
see you on the other side in the new year. That goes for folks out there in the chat. This is not the last live stream of the year, though. We're lining up a bunch more in December for you to tune in for, starting with next Tuesday, talking with the team behind the indie game Venba, which is an Indian cooking and storytelling game. So we're going to go deep behind the scenes, lift the hood on the Wwise project, look into that. So if this is the kind of thing you're into, come on back next Tuesday. As well as throughout December, we're going to be talking to folks on the spatial audio team about integrating spatial audio in Unreal from the start. So if you're just getting started with spatial audio, we're going to give you a hands-on walkthrough with that. In addition to Wwise Reflect, our early reflections plugin, got a live stream coming up there. Check out the schedule on Twitch and YouTube. Get those notifications and tune in when you can. Chase, again, rock and roll. Thanks so much
Yeah.
for doing this with me this year. It's been great.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. More to come.
All right. Take care, folks. See you on the other side. Have a good rest of the year. Ciao.